Hello everyone, today we are here to rank all the retiring 2024 LEGO Star Wars sets. Now as you can see we got a pretty basic tier here, just S to D. S being sets I think everybody should get and I highly recommend, and all the way down to D, which is sets you should probably skip. At the bottom we have all 32 sets that are retiring, and I'll go through and kind of just do a broad ranking at first, and then at the end I'll kind of refine it a little bit more to have a perfect 1 through 32 rating. Alright, let's start off with the first one, which is Darth Vader's helmet. Now, me personally, I am not a big helmet guy. I think there's some really good ones, but for the most part, they just don't do it for me. And this one's decently expensive too, so I'm thinking I'll just set the bar here and put it at B, because it's Darth Vader, it's a pretty cool helmet, but I just don't care for helmets that much. So I think it's a good idea to just set the bar there at B. Next up is the big UCS R2-D2. This set just doesn't really do it for me. I'm thinking C probably. I don't like the idea of it being in the B tier with Darth Vader's helmet. I don't know if I think it's that bad of a set, but it is $240 I think, which is kind of crazy. I don't know, I think it's alright for now. This Falcon is next, the last sequel set remaining, and it's a pretty darn good Falcon, I will say that. The figures, I would say, are really the selling point. I think the Lando Calrissian and then that one alien guy is a really big selling point for it. I still don't think it's a great set, mainly because of the sequel, so I just don't care for it. I'd still give it a B because of the figures, and it's a good Falcon build. After that, we're looking at the Mos Eisley Cantina, a very good set. A lot of minifigures, which I love. Some very diverse aliens are included in that set. Very cool. That's probably our first A. The only reason I'm not going to put this one S is because it's really not that great for display. I mean, it's okay, but I don't know. I feel like when you have the building closed up, it's kind of hard to display it. But when you open it up, even then it kind of doesn't look the best. Next we have the AAT Polybag, which I guess it's fine. I have a hard time ranking a polybag though compared to real sets. I don't really like polybags in the first place. I mean, it's okay though. I'll put C though, just because I honestly just don't care for polybags at all. It's not bad, but it's just not a necessity to get before it retires. Next we have another big one, the UCS AT-AT. $850 is a big price tag, but this set is totally worth it. The UCS AT-AT for any hardcore LEGO Star Wars fan is an absolute must. And I know it's $850, so I get it that it's not in everyone's price range, but if you can afford it, I would highly recommend. You get a ton of figures with a build that absolutely just commands the room and your attention, and that one might end up staying in the top spot. After that, another UCS, we got the Luke's Land Speeder. It's actually a really good build, very accurate. The thing is, it's Luke's Land Speeder, so do I really care about this? No, I don't. I just don't want to drop $240 on a UCS Luke's Land Speeder. It's a really good build though, so I probably will put it at the top of B tier because it is insanely accurate and it does look really good. Next is the Executor Super Star Destroyer, a great bring back of the midi scale series, and it's a very nice display piece, especially for a desk. I'm thinking A, definitely. Leia's helmet from Return of the Jedi. I'm not even going to try to say the name because I know I'll butcher it. It's actually a really good design and they did it very well. It's just, who really cares for this? I don't think, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I don't really care for this at all. It could be our first D just because I feel like that helmet's way too niche to really care about it. Yeah, I think I'm just going to leave it in the D. I don't think this one's worth getting. The Shin Hati and New Republic E-Wing is a very good set. This one is going to be tough to put in here. $110, and you get two really good ships with a star-studded lineup. Well, I guess you only get the Balin Skull and Shin Hati. The Astromech and the New Republic pilot are both good, but they're not like named figures. Still really cool though. Yeah, I think this is an A right here above the executor. Oh boy, here we go with the mechs now. Ugh, I really have a hard time ranking these. Yeah, I don't think they're good. I just don't. I might just throw them all in D straight up. They're not good for getting figures. 15 bucks for one figure is terrible. The mechs obviously aren't accurate. They're definitely don't belong in Star Wars. And all these figures are super accessible already. Boba Fett, Stormtrooper, and Darth Vader. You can get those in any other set. Like, those are always available. Yeah, we're hitting these all with the D. If I want to get specific between them, I'd probably put the Stormtrooper. Well, the Stormtrooper one's honestly pretty darn clean. Yeah, I think that's actually a fairly good ranking for those three at the bottom. So I know earlier I mentioned I don't really like the helmets, but Commander Cody's helmet is one of the few that is an exception for me. This thing looks perfect. It looks so good. And I think it's going to have to be a top of B tier. I think it could almost make its way to bottom A tier, but I'm just going to put it top of B for now. They really captured all the angles on that perfectly. Not to mention, I really love Phase 1 armor, probably more than Phase 2. I know I'm probably weird for saying that. A lot of people are the other way. But I really love this helmet despite not liking the whole line itself. Next up, we got the indoor speeder chase diorama. And man, I can't believe that one's already retiring. It feels like just yesterday it was announced. I know some people call this one overpriced or they think it's a little bit cheap with the trees and that. I quite like it though. I get it's not perfect. I think it's a bottom B. Better than this Falcon though, and the helmet. I said it was a bottom B, but it's actually way better than all three of those sets. So I'm gonna move it up a few. All right, next up we're hitting some clone sets. We got the Coruscant Guard gunship. I really like what they did here, but there's a lot of little issues this set has. The Coruscant Guard was a really neat idea for gunship. I'm glad we got like a different version other than just the, normal white one. However, this one's just kind of got a few problems. I don't like those stud shooters on the wings. The downsize doesn't really bother me like it does some people. I don't like that the doors are only one. It's supposed to be two separate doors. So a lot of little inaccuracies. It's hard for me to put it as a bad set though. I definitely don't think it deserves A, but I don't know if I can put it in B really, or where I'd put it in B. Actually, I think this makes perfect sense. All right, after that one, we're looking at Mando and Grogu's in one microfighter here. Microfighters again, I'm just not a big fan of. This one's $16 too, and it looks really bad. This is probably another D. Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it the D tier treatment. I will put it better than the mechs though, because at least you get Mando and Grogu, and that Mando is the new Mando. So at the time when it came out, it was actually a decent way to get him for pretty cheap. It is a terrible looking microfighter though. They did such a bad job. After that, we got the Emperor's Throne Room. Some people call this set overpriced, but I actually really love this set. Like, a lot. I don't think it's overpriced, honestly. It could be maybe a tad cheaper, like $5 or $10, but I don't think that really impacts my overall opinion. I really love this scene and the geometry of that back window. They did really well. I think I might have to put it in S. I know some of you might be calling me crazy for that one, but I think that's a really good set. All right, back down here we got Obi-Wan Kenobi's Jedi Starfighter, a very good set. I think this is kind of underrated. You got Obi-Wan, of course, then R4, and a Kaminoan, and a really great Jedi Starfighter. I think I'll give this one a lower A. I think it's really good. It's just not necessarily the most exciting set, so that's kind of why it goes under the radar. Ooh, the Mandalorian, Thane Fighter, and TIE Interceptor's next. I really love this set. I've loved it since day one. The Thane Fighter not being able to rotate is kind of a bummer, but I can't really count it against the set because we never saw the Thane Fighters in the show really up close or see if they could do that at all. So I'm not going to hold that against it. Well, I want to put it S, but the figure lineup does lack a little. This is really hard. I think I'll put it bottom of S for now, but it definitely could be moved down to A. We'll see where we end up at the end. All right, we have another Mandalorian Season 3 set, and that is the Spider Droid Attack. I go really back and forth on this set a lot if I like it or not. The Bo-Katan figure is perfect, but I can't recommend buying a $50 set just for that one figure. The Grogu's obviously the same one. The Din Djarin is the new one with the new prints that look really good. The Spider Tank's fun, but I don't know. It's just not like a very iconic vehicle, obviously. I kind of think it's neat they did it, but I don't know how much I can recommend it. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to put it top of C. The Bo-Katan figure is really the only reason to buy this set. Other than that, I wouldn't say there's anything too interesting here for you. Yoda Starfighter is alright. It's definitely overpriced, though. Really overpriced. For only 2 minifigures, a build they basically reused. Only changed a few small things on it. Well, I gotta... I'll probably put it bottom of C. It's almost D for me. The only thing holding it up, I guess, is that it is a really good build and the improvements they made were good. I do like the set concept. It's just they did a very poor execution as far as the minifigures and price point goes. The TIE Bomber is sitting down here next, and it's a really good one. This might just be an instant S for me. I think it might be, yeah. It's a very good build. Figures are good. Yeah, that's really all I can say. It's got to be an S there. Sitting here, the only con I can think is that Admiral Sloane isn't in her white officer's uniform. She's in the gray one. Obviously, that, it's kind of nitpicky and doesn't really matter. Either way, we got her as a figure, but I think a lot of people would have preferred her in her white outfit. Either way, though, that's not a big deal. Our second microfighter on the list is Boba Fett's Starship, according to LEGO, but of course, we all know it as the Slave One. Like I mentioned, I'm just not a fan of microfighters. This one at least gives us a really good Boba figure, and it really makes that mech obsolete. Like, you don't need that. You can just buy this for cheaper. And I'll put it bottom of C. It's a decent microfighter. They did a good job with it. Another Ahsoka set here with the T6. I do think that cockpit is pretty small and makes the entire build feel a little smaller because of that. The figures, though, the figures in this set carry it hard. Ahsoka, Sabine, Huyang, if that's correct. I know it's something like that. And then Malik. 4 unique, really neat figures from the show. It's almost an S. I'm very tempted to put it in an S. I think I'm just going to go top of A, though. The $80 price tag does seem a little high, though, for its size. But at the same time, it doesn't. It's hard. I'll leave it at the top of A for now, and we'll come back to it. All right, we got our two clone battle packs next up, both of them here. The 501st Specialist Troopers. Now, of course, these guys have the helmet holes, which really bugs me. It's kind of up to you guys. If that's not a problem for you, then you might be ranking this set completely differently. Same with the other one. This one actually, though, covers most holes with the Troopers, so I guess it's not that big of an issue for this set. I do really love all the Specialized Troops here, though, the heavy and all that. And the Specialist, the macro binoculars we finally got. That build is also really good. I'm thinking we can put it right here, kind of towards the upper half of B. Looking at the Ahsoka's Clone Troopers one, though, the build is really good, too. The figures, though, the figures are pretty bad in this one, and uninteresting. Nobody needs that many 332nd. I think this should have been a Versus pack with 2 332nd and 2 Maul Mandalorians. The Commander Vaughn, I'm probably not saying that right, but he's really bad too. Really lazy by them. They just pasted a little plaque on his upper chest plate and gave him a visor. Pretty lame. And I'll pick up one probably just to have it, and because I'm a big Clone Wars nut, but the more I'm thinking about it, this set's pretty bad. I'm probably gonna have to put it in C. Luckily, after that set, we got a really good one here with the Ghost and Phantom 2. The figures are a little up and down. You got a few good ones and then a few ones that just, I guess, don't matter, like the Resistant or the New Republic officer. The Mon Calamari guy is pretty neat to see. Obviously, the build here is the main attraction, and it does not disappoint. They really knocked this one out. And despite the lazy figures, definitely an S. I gotta say, just for the build, yeah, it's definitely an S. I'm gonna probably put it towards the bottom because of that. Actually, I'll put it right in front of there because the Ghost is a little bit more of a fun build. It's just a bit bigger, and I love the techniques and the colors in that one a bit more. And the figures are honestly not that big of a deal. I'm probably making it sound worse than it is. They are good. They're just not exciting. Speaking of a non-exciting set, the Pirate Snub Fighter. Yeah, this is so lame. I'm honestly tempted to put this worse than the mechs. It really isn't though, but it is pretty bad. $35 for 2 minifigures and a ship that we don't care about and it's just a one-off. I don't know. They really should have included at least another figure that was like a main character, a Grief Karga type to entice us to actually want this. I think this is a good spot for it though. The Crimson Firehawk, the Juniors 4+ set. It's not that bad. I have a hard time ranking this one though. Obviously, I haven't seen this show and I don't have any connection to it, so the figures are neat, but it's hard to rank something I don't know what it's based off of. Otherwise, all these junior sets feel a little overpriced, or in some cases a lot overpriced, and this one can feel that a little bit too. I think I will put this one though in C, and right below Yoda Starfighter. Because, I mean, it's got some merit to it, but for most LEGO collectors, no, it doesn't really. Alright, we're down to our final 2 sets left, and the UCS Chewbacca. A lot of people don't like this set, but it doesn't bother me. The face is a little off, but I think it's fine for the most part. It's a pretty big price tag to ask of people for a buildable Chewbacca like this, and I'll probably skip it because of the price tag, but I do actually quite enjoy this set. And I do think I'll actually probably put it in the B. I think right here is honestly not a bad spot at all. I think that's perfect. I really enjoy it to some extent, but the price tag I just can't justify for a set like that. Kind of similar to Luke's Land Speeder right next to it. Alright, we are down to our last set, and that is Yavin 4. I really adore this set. The amount of figures, it was perfect, and the build can be a little juvenile, I guess I should say. That's the biggest brain down here. Is some of the build feels like a 4+ set. That's really the only thing dragging it down. Otherwise, I love what they did here. It's very different from what we normally see, and I'm glad we finally got a Yavin 4. This is definitely one, though, I love on my shelves, because like I said, it looks very different. So I think an A is appropriate, at least in my opinion. Alright, here we are at the end, and I'm kind of surprised. I thought it'd be lopsided in the tiers, but it's actually a pretty even distribution here. I'm just going to kind of do a final walkthrough, I guess, and make sure all these are perfect from top to bottom. I think I did kind of a lot of that along the way, but I'm just going to do a double check here. I think D is pretty set in stone. Like, those are the worst of the worst to me. This microfighter could maybe move down, but I think it's good enough. If I look at the top, yeah, the UCS AT-AT definitely deserves the top spot. I get price can be a barrier, so I mean, don't let me make you go spend $850 if you don't have it. Don't get me wrong. I get that, but it is that good. After that, honestly, I know this isn't for everyone, but for me, this is probably the second best set. Retiring, I'm a big fan of the dioramas, and this one is one of my favorite scenes, so it kind of just has a special place for me here. All right, TIE Bomber I can't put above the Ghost. The Ghost is just too good of a ship design. They did everything right there. The colors, I mean, obviously some of that's just based off the in-universe ship design. Very good set. Highly recommend. After that, I think that looks pretty good. The T6 down here. I'm tempted to move that to S, and I might just for the figures. I know the price tag's a little high. Actually, I think I will go ahead and move this one up to bottom of the S. I think the figures are worth it. The small, gripes I have with the build, I think the figures do make up for it. This, I think, makes sense here. So is this one. The vehicles here, really the Balin Skull and Shin Hati figures are the only two that are really standouts from this set. I mean, the ships are good and colorful, but they're not like memorable ships, Same with the other 2 minifigures. Overall, though, I do think it's an amazing package. Executor, yeah. Yavin 4. Yavin 4 I'm tempted to move above. I might do some rearranging here. I think Executor's moving down, not because it's bad, but because I honestly just really like playsets as opposed to, you know, more display type like this, without many figures in that. So I think that's pretty good there for me. Commander Cody's helmet at the top of B. Yeah, I really love that helmet. There's the clones, a few of them here. I think that's pretty good looking. And I think we might have a finished list here. This is looking pretty good to me. Yeah, I think we got this down. Now, of course, I'm sure some of you will differ with these opinions, but if you do, just let me know in the comments. I always love to hear what other people think, because of course, I'm going to have biases. Like I already mentioned, this one up here, I really love that scene, you know. Same with some of the other sets like the Yavin 4. I'm sure some of you had that one a lot lower. And let me remind you, all these sets are retiring at the end of 2024. So make sure to pick them up this year, probably a few months before, you know, the end of the year, just because you want to make sure you get them before they start running out of stock. I'll put the links to these from Amazon down in the description, so if you want to support the channel and go buy one using the affiliate link, please do. It'd be much appreciated. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.